Hello and welcome to the Pointless Distractions podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Draper. With me,
Graham Bergeron.
And Scott Westerman.
Well, look who's fucking back.
Look at me, live and in person.
Finally dedicated again.
Yeah, somewhat.
So I hope you heard we had to record episode 9.5 without you. We couldn't jump into 10, and do our big anniversry while you're on the high seas.
That would have been funny, though. The big anniversary show, and Scott's not here.
Just have a cardboard cutout that only we see.
I think the listeners would probably appreciate that.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, we could have made that the thumbnail. Just the cardboard cutout of Scott.
There you go.
Just nowhere, Scott.
Nowhere, Scott. Yes, I was listening to that in the airport on the way home, and I was sitting there giggling like a schoolgirl on acid, and the people were looking at me like I was crazy. Like they're like,
"What, 9.5?"
Yeah.
I gotta hand it to fucking Graham though. That editing, we actually finally sound pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, considering how much dead space was in some of those games, it was really
well. Also,
good.
the audio quality. Just we all have mics now. It's day and night. 2 months from 2 months ago.
Finally,
although I had a couple of cringe-worthy moments on that though when I was listening to it, because I was like, I know we were doing the G.I. Joe game and talking about Grunt as one of the original Joes, and I said the original 12, and I was just like, oh, did I just say that? Because there's 13 original Joes. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I was confusing with the original 12 Star Wars figures or something. I don't know. Probably just babbling.
I thought you were going to say
we heard a lot of complaints about that while you were gone.
I thought you were going to say
know your
shit. Cringeworthy that both of those bits ended on dick jokes.
Well, that's kind of my thing.
Well, at least
always got
to
bring the level of discourse
got
down.
On air.
Yep, I finally got on air briefly.
So anyway, how do you guys feel about hitting the Big Ten mark?
That's exciting.
I mean, for us, that's big.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we've lasted this long, yes. I know it's always a struggle coming up with things to talk about, so the fact we made it to 10 is kind of impressive for us.
It's really like episode 13.5 or 12.5. We're going to run out of that joke, don't worry.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah, that's okay. I'm sure we're going to have...
Let's talk about the cruise again. No, I'm just...
Hey, how'd you guys meet? Did you guys used to work at a pizza shop or something?
So, what were you up to, Scott? Why were you gone?
I was actually on a cruise with my family, Royal Caribbean, the Wonder of the Seas, which is apparently the second largest cruise ship in the world, just beaten out by another Royal Caribbean ship, and there's a third one coming out in August. It's going to be even bigger than those, so it's going to move from 2 down to 3. We went to Coco Cay, which is their private island with a water park and beaches and everything, and then from there we went to St. Thomas, and there was a whole debacle there for most of the people. Actually, that's the day that my brother-in-law finally went scuba diving. We've been talking about going scuba diving since we met 20 years ago. We finally did it, and it was one of the coolest things I think I've ever done. But it was kind of funny because apparently I'm too buoyant or something, because the dive master chick kept coming up and putting weights on me and saying, you need to get down, you need to get down. So, and my brother-in-law was like, every time I'd be like, where's Scott? I'd look around. It's like, I just need to look up because he's probably up there about to kick me in the face or something. So yeah, it was.
No, we're not allowed to use where's Scott.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Trademark infringement there.
They're listening right now.
We're not allowed to ask that question.
But it was really cool. It's really kind of freaky when you first get down there because, you're kind of having a little bit of anxiety, make sure this tank actually works. I'm breathing, I don't want my hose to get cut, all this, this dumb shit that goes through your head. You just kind of relax, get down there, and it's just really cool because you start just looking around and seeing how awesome it is. Fish swimming by, coral everywhere. It was really neat. So yeah,
you're living life have you ever seen the show White Lotus on HBO?
Nope, haven't watched that. Although I did see
season 4, living it up on resorts, going all around the fucking world. Well, we're sitting back here recording.
Well, it's funny because my brother-in-law, we were having the time of our lives because it was, like I said, one of the coolest things we've ever done, period. And we get back from that and everybody's on the ship and they're just grouchy because apparently they had a beach excursion planned. They were some of the last ones to get in line for it, apparently, and they didn't book enough buses to take people. So they just kind of shoved them on a random taxi or something. The guy apparently dropped them off at the wrong spot. They ended up on this beach with crackheads and broken bottles and all this kind of shit. Just oh my God, we're supposed to be at this beautiful resort beach. Nope. Luckily, it was basically my wife and my mother-in-law and a couple of cousins, and it was basically 6 girls and 1 guy. So luckily, my brother-in-law, my other brother-in-law was there. Yeah. And so he was there to at least make sure they didn't get shanghaied and kidnapped. But they made it back to the ship safely. They were not happy about any of that. They were very grouchy.
How could you be not happy on that boat, Graham? Did you even see what that thing looks like?
I mean,
It's got like 17 water slides on it.
You told me there was a Ferris wheel.
There's not a Ferris wheel.
I made that part up.
There was a carousel, though. There was a small carousel.
Really?
Yeah.
That's close enough.
It was pretty cool.
I mean, that thing was like a small city on the sea. That was like...
Yeah, it was cool. It was very fun. It was funny because I was so hoping to go to the duty-free store and get some good bourbons. And they had a couple that I wanted to buy, but they were like 4 times retail. It's like, I thought the whole point of duty-free was that stuff was cheap. No, we mark up the price, but at least we don't charge extra tax on it. Like, oh, thanks. So nothing to bring home there, unfortunately. The good news with the whole excursion issues that the rest of the family was having, though, is that they get their money back for all that. So that helped. That put them in a better mood. And it was kind of funny because we found one of the bars. It was basically kind of like an Irish pub on board. We found a great server, tipped him out, and the next thing you know, I mean, he just took care of us every night. Because there was a group of like a dozen of us sitting down there every night drinking like fish for like 4 hours. So he would take care of us. It was funny. He'd see us coming. He'd like gather tables and throw some chairs up there, make sure like we actually had room to sit. It was pretty funny. Whew, drank a lot of bourbon.
Sounds like fun. I wish I
Oh,
had
yeah.
fun.
Oh, we had a good time. It flew by. I mean, anytime you're on a cruise ship for a week, it feels like about 2 days after you're done because it just flies by. But yeah, it was great.
If me and Jen had saved when you originally told me about it forever ago, I probably could have made it happen. But, then I would have missed the curator events. So
Right. Nice
That's
segue.
something.
What did you do this week?
Well, last week...
Last week.
So Jen and I went down to New Jersey to go to the Tell 'em Steve Dave 15th anniversary celebration, hosted by the curator, as you know. Have you ever met him, by the way?
Yeah, I met him at Key West.
Oh, I didn't. Oh, I forgot he was there. I haven't even technically met the guy.
Really nice guy. Cool guy.
Yeah, no, I can tell. That was a really fun event. It was in a VFW hall.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and it looked like a wedding venue in the back, and then it had a bar, but you had to go into the front area, and it was all like a townie, like just veterans in the bar, and I don't know what war these guys fought in with how old they were, because it had to be the Korean War or something. I have no idea.
Wow.
But they were like, well, what's this event? What are you guys from? I was like, well, it's celebrating a podcast, and it's a 15th anniversary, and it's about and the guy's like, I'm 75. I have no idea what you're talking
It's
about.
like, get out, nerds.
No, but it was really fun. There was trivia. I was hanging out with the Wannabes. I was actually on their live show that they recorded there.
Very nice.
And don't worry, I mentioned you guys. I plugged the shit out of us.
Is that released yet?
No. I think next week.
Gotta give it a listen.
I'm pretty sure I was talking about Graham's editing prowess at that time. I had no idea I was going to be on it. I saw them setting up. They're like, sit down. I'm like, oh my God, again? I'm being thrown into it. But, I have a little more practice under my belt at this time.
Right.
Yeah, it was a pretty good time. We after that, we went over to the Dublin House, which is in Red Bank, and Brian Johnson was there, Mary Beth. But we did go we went to Kevin Smith's Smodcastle Theater. That was interesting. That's kind of a weird theater.
Yeah, I saw there was a group photo that they put out because you had a surprise guest show up, and it looked like it was a pretty small theater, but it's just
you saw it in
single
that's
venue,
where
right?
they filmed the 4:30 movie or whatever.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Yeah. Weird fact, super sticky floors. Like, you could hear it when you're walking. It's
Ooey gooey.
So we sat down and saw a sneak preview of the new Sunday Jeff show. We actually got to see that like a few days before. And we're just sitting there, and out of nowhere, the back door opens. Walt, Brian, and Hugh come in.
Nice.
Do like a 30-minute Q&A, and obviously the place lights up. I mean, I figured it was going to happen, but it was a nice little surprise.
Yeah, I thought they weren't sure if Q was going to make it because I think he's still filming Jokers right now, isn't he?
Well, he was at a family barbecue at his house and actually left his family and didn't drink the whole time just so he could come an hour away to answer questions for 30 minutes, come right back.
Yeah, they're talking about that on the last TSD episode. It was pretty funny. I got 25 people at my house.
Other than that, the only thing interesting was I finally saw, well, I've seen it, but a live version of Rocky Horror.
Oh, yeah?
I don't know, Graham, you tell me. How did that all start? I had told Graham, so the first night we had gotten down there, it was the day before the curator event. Jen and I had gone to a bunch of local breweries in Asbury Park. It's like where Springsteen's from, the Jersey Boardwalk. Sopranos, all that fun stuff. Did a little day drinking, was feeling good. Get a text from Justin from the Wannabes, and he's like, "Guy, all the ants are going to a screening of the Rocky Horror tonight." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I've seen that before, but have fun." "Oh no, you should come. A bunch of ants going to be there." I'm like, I didn't drive 5 hours to the Jersey Shore to go see a 50-year-old movie. And then I believe I texted Graham about it, being like, "Oh, these fucking guys." And what was your reaction, Graham?
I didn't get that. Well, we'd talked about Rocky Horror on the podcast
Yeah, we
before,
mentioned that like 2 episodes back. It just literally lined up like that.
Yeah, where, I've fond memories of it. So, you're trying to get me to hate on all these people that are driving down here to see a
Not
movie
necessarily
that they
like hate
enjoy.
on them, but can I read some of those texts back?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, this is me. "A bunch of ants are going tonight to see Rocky Horror. People driving 5+ hours to see a 50-year-old movie. Worst cult movie ever. Bullshit." Graham goes, "I would drive that far.
That was a typo.
Probably cap it at 2 hours." But I'm also not going to judge anyone who does. I said, "Graham, you wouldn't see Rocky Horror in Manchester, which is where we live." I'm just being a dick at this point.
No.
Scott goes, "Come on, be all judgy. You're too nice, Graham." "Graham, I'm not getting into this. I knew I pissed him off." At that point, we didn't hear from Graham for a while, and I'm assuming you got on the plane. Had a few more drinks. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to look this up. I look, it says it's Pride Night. It's the 50th anniversary. I'm like, fuck it. It's going to be good content. I'm going to go. The Wannabes are there, a bunch of other ants. It'll be a fun time. I'm being all negative. So I'm like, all right, Jen, I'm buying the tickets. 10 o'clock. Take a little nap. Head over there. Get in the line. There's like drag queens all over the place. Like, bunch of lesbians. It was a good time, I won't lie. Just like pride celebration. Everyone's like, "Oh, let me paint a rainbow in your face." I didn't go that far, but I have no problem with any of that. So we get into the theater, sit down. The Wannabes come in. They're sitting next to us. Beth and Sherry, that Scott, they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Lindsay, Curator, and Brian Maxwell are there as well.
Oh no.
So you're familiar with like how the show goes? I meant how people play along with the movie.
I know that they used to do like audience participation bits. I didn't know if screenings still did. I've never been to like a live show, and was only told about them from my parents. I know, isn't there one with like toilet paper involved and people bring lighters and stuff?
This was full 100% in. While you were in line, if you wanted to, it was like a couple bucks. They'd give you a bag of props, and toilet paper was in there, newspaper, all this crap.
Squirt guns, I think.
I don't remember that. Probably.
I don't know. That might be a different
But
show.
most of the people there were big fans. They knew what was going on. The rest of us were like virgins. They're like, who hasn't seen the movie? Come up and dance, and everyone's freaking dancing around. Of course, we're sitting in our seats. But the movie starts, it's full participation with people screaming from the back. There's a whole cast of maybe 10, 15 people that like run this.
Uh-huh.
And they're also acting it out in front of the screen. So even if you really wanted to pay attention to this movie, it was impossible. But I guess within 5 minutes, Brian Maxwell and the Curator left. They couldn't handle it, like literally the first 5 minutes.
Sensory overload.
I guess, but like pure pandemonium. Like, what the hell's going on? Just like I knew about it, but shit's getting thrown, just screaming, yelling. I'm like, well, I'm here. About halfway through the movie, I look over at Gula and his wife Sam, and she's like starting to fall asleep. How the fuck can you fall asleep during this? It's like watching a movie like in Gremlins 1. Remember when the Gremlins were watching Snow White? That's what it was like.
Or
imagine that
of the Minecraft movie.
Yeah. Worse than that. Well, there's no popcorn being thrown around. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, Jen, look over there. They're starting to waver. They don't want to be here anymore. I'm like, this is great. And then I see, they nudge me. It's probably halfway through the movie judging. They're like, yeah, we're gonna leave. We gotta go back. We're tired. I was like, you fucking sons of bitches. So I nudged Jen again. I'm like, we are staying to the end. I don't care like what happens. Like I said, it was still a good time. Like, it's not my cup of tea, but the people that were throwing it obviously were having a blast and they enjoyed doing it. I don't know what they get paid to do that. It's a $12 movie ticket. Yeah, it was like a 3-hour event of just like balls to the wall zaniness. And the only ones left standing were me, Jen, and Beth. Do you know Bridget and Sherry? When they were doing the group photo at the end of the cast, I'm like, Jen, I got to get right in the middle of that. And I need this for the episode. Picture. I need it for Graham. I need it for the Wannabes. I got shit to prove. But it's a good picture.
It is a good picture.
Proves that you're
Has your
dedicated.
opinion of the movie changed now that you've been a part of like
No, not at all.
fair?
But yeah, the very first thing the next morning when we were recording with the Wannabes, I got to bring that up. I was like, "Fuck you guys!" I'm like, "You guys are posers, like bullshit. You were all about it." I mean, I love them, but also, yeah,
You gotta talk shit.
yeah.
I mean, full transparency, that does sound like a lot. Like, I enjoy the movie, seen it multiple times, love the soundtrack. That whole, like, interactive experience sounds like too much for me.
Okay, I would probably watch it again. Like I said, I've seen it at home. I saw it there. I'd probably watch it maybe again on its own.
Like, I've listened to the soundtrack more than I've seen it, because I really enjoy the music. But I do think the live experience would be too much for me.
And you know, Scott, why I think that the Wannabes and all these ants wanted to go? You remember, like, right before the Curator event, Q was talking about how he, like, rediscovered that and was listening to it?
Yeah.
That's the only
probably
fucking reason. I was like, you guys just, like, that's the only reason you heard him say that. So the next night at that screening at Smod Castle, you know, it's a Q&A, and someone asked Q, I think it was Beth, she was, like, behind me.
Why didn't
Like,
you
well,
go
what are
to
you
Rocky
listening
Horror?
to right now? And he goes, pretty much the Rocky Horror soundtrack. And I literally, like, it's quiet in the theater, and I mean, no one really heard me, but I go,
Yeah.
"Hey, Justin Goulet, you hear that?" Little private joke.
They're gonna kill you next time they see you.
No, like I said, I saw them this next morning and recorded with them. But this is I already called them out on their show, and I'm calling them out now.
That's funny.
And anyone else who walked out,
Just not dedicated.
Just not dedicated.
it still was a little bit of fun, though.
Oh, it sounds like it would actually.
I'm glad
be a
I
lot
can
of
say
fun.
I did it on the 50th on, like, Pride Night. It couldn't be any more insane. Like, they couldn't top that one showing that I saw.
Oh, yeah,
so.
that sounds like the perfect show to go to.
Yeah, if you're gonna go to one viewing, that's the one to go to.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
So, Graham, what's going on with you? What were you doing while we were gallivanting?
Oh, not much. Graduated college.
Not much. Just graduated from college.
just graduated.
I had to clap into that.
Had a graduation party that, you know, had to be the one weekend when you were off down in Jersey.
You know, it took us so much longer to get back. So it took about 5 hours to get down there. It was super quick. It took like 7 to get back, and I was almost thinking, because I remember where it was in Nashua. At least I would have told you or asked you where it was, but I was almost thinking of like showing up. But I thought it was running way later, and then we had to go pick up the ferret, so that was never going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like a rager, you know, just everyone hanging out at the lake, drinking beers, eating some barbecue.
Like I said, coming back, I saw like 6 dead deer. It was really weird. I think that's like an extreme number for. It was interesting coming back to New England, and everything was in a haze from the Canadian wildfires. Like, what the fuck is going on? Did like a reactor blow up?
Yeah, I was surprised we didn't get much of that. I guess it all just kind of traveled east towards you guys, because we're pretty close to Canada here in Ohio, but we didn't get any of that haze and stuff that I could notice, unless it was just there when I was on the boat and I didn't see it.
So, Graham, tell us about the celebration.
I mean, like I say, it was, you know, I drank. That was pretty much it. You know, sat
Kind of deflating after our story.
Yeah, I sat in a lawn chair and
Did you read any comics in the cabin?
drank some beer. Can't say that I did. Can't.
Does that even count as a cabin, though?
Yeah.
Like, I went in that thing. I'm pretty sure it was just a garage.
Well, no, there's the garage side, and then there's the cabin side.
Yeah, but when was the last time anyone actually slept in there?
Oh, I mean, like, the cabin itself is mostly used for storage now. There probably hasn't been anyone that's actually, like, slept in there that wasn't, like, annihilated drunk in a couple decades.
Yeah. That picture you sent of the lake when you were up there looked really good, though. It looks like a really nice place.
It's a great place to just go and, like, crack open
Just
a beer
relax.
and just zone out for a bit.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, Graham, what do you know about the Karen Reed case? Like, everybody's talking about it. I don't know much about it. It is kind of local to us.
Personally, I don't know a ton, but I do know someone who knows quite a bit about it if we want to bring her on to give us a crash course.
Hello.
Hi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I am Cameron Bergeron, wife to Graham Bergeron. Yes, and
Yes, ladies, he's taken.
certified Karen Reed trial expert.
Oh, nice.
At least according to what I've learned through Facebook Reels.
Well, you could pretty much tell us anything. We'll probably believe it because we know nothing about it. So,
Excellent.
so
I'm
school
down.
us here.
Okay, so this is the trial that has gripped, if not a nation, then at least New England. Karen Reed is a Massachusetts resident who, a few years ago, I want to say 2021, was arrested for the murder of her boyfriend, who was a police officer in one of the Boston suburb towns. Basically, this gentleman, John O'Keefe, he was found laying outside in the middle of winter, snow accumulating, deceased early in the morning. They went through what was allegedly an investigation that didn't really seem to be much of an investigation, and determined that Karen Reed backed into her boyfriend while she was under the influence, arrested her for murder. So she went through this whole in-depth trial, and this was a few years ago at this point. And through the course of that trial, it came out that the police did like a pretty shoddy job of investigating. Like there's images that I've seen, evidence collected in like paper bags and red Solo cups, right? This police officer that they're alleging was murdered by his girlfriend. They're saying that she like backed her car up into him. There was no bruising on his body. So like you would expect if you were hit by a vehicle hard enough to be thrown backwards and like hit your head and expire, that like maybe you would have been hit with some amount of force that would cause bruising, and there's none. Right? The only damage to her vehicle is a rear taillight was like broken, but in the testimony, it's come out that the taillight was more broken after it was like taken to wherever it is that the police take vehicles to like check out.
The impound.
Yeah. So it was like kind of broken, and then by the time we see it again, it's shattered. Not really sure how that happened, right? There was no like glass clearly visible, like no taillight glass anywhere visible on the ground at the time, originally when they found him. So they went through this whole trial a few years ago where basically that's what the prosecution argued, is that she backed up into him, knocked him over, he bumped his head, and died from that.
And they're trying her for murder for that?
Yes. Yep. So they're saying it's alleging it's second-degree murder as well as like manslaughter with a vehicle.
That sounds more consistent, yeah.
Yeah. And then leaving the scene of an accident where somebody has deceased. So that's what the prosecution argued back in the original trial. And yes, the original trial, because there's been two now.
Wait, what year was this? Like
I
the
wanna say
original?
2021, maybe.
Okay.
A few years ago. The defense argued that Karen Reed never hit him. They argued that like they had a disagreement. She left that house, and this police officer, who was her boyfriend, went inside the house. It was a house of people who were known to him. There were other officers, like an ATF officer. So they're people that they're friends with, people that they were he was on the force with, that he went into that house, ended up being assaulted there, murdered inside the house, and they like dragged the body outside to make it look like he fell and died outside. They're saying there was no blood on the ground. Again, like he fell hard enough to hit his head, and you'd think there'd be like a pool of blood, and there was none, right? Or not enough, not a lot. And the police never went into the house. Like a guy's dead on the front lawn, and they were just like, eh.
Well, it's probably all their buddies partying in there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it seems fishy.
Also collect evidence.
It's Bill,
in,
the
flesh bags
ATF
and
agent
silicone.
in there.
This guy like went and he like disposed of his phone on like an Air Force base so that it couldn't be like found
Seems
and
legit.
gone through, right? So like a lot of very suspicious behavior. And she's the only person that the police investigated. So like they never looked into what happened in the house. They never looked into could somebody else have done it. They just kind of decided that this lady who was not one of their police buddies, who was not part of their little crew, was the one who did it. And that's all they really investigated at the time. That's trial number
That
one.
seems odd.
What was the verdict of the first trial?
Hung jury. They could not come. They deliberated for a while, could not come to a unanimous vote on whether she was guilty or not guilty.
Yeah, when my wife was talking, when they were all talking at dinner, it sounded like there was some kind of thing where they were talking about the investigation, how botched it was, and how it was basically non-existent. It's like I didn't know they were collecting all the evidence in lunch bags and solo cups, so that's kind of ridiculous. Like,
Right?
oh,
You were probably
sounds
thinking
like
more about
they were all
getting back
drunk.
to that go-kart track on the boat.
Yeah, I was, Do I want the steak or the pork chop?
I can have both.
Well, on day 3, when I figured that out, I was like, oh yeah, bring it on. I think I put on like 15 pounds on that cruise. Like, anyway, trial 2.
Now they're doing the second trial?
Yeah, now they're on trial too.
So so it was a hung jury the first time around, so they can do a second trial, or they should do a second trial.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the defense has
How long?
shifted their strategy a little bit for this one. So they're kind of implying that, like, yeah, maybe he was brought into the house, maybe somebody else murdered him. But their main defense is, like, this was not an investigation.
Yeah.
They were...
Oh, we had solo cups, man.
Right? Like, that seems legit. Seems official for a formal police investigation into the potential murder of a fellow officer. So that's what their whole defense was this time, is basically like they didn't look at anybody else. They didn't even go into the house. They didn't interview all the witnesses. The lead investigator on her case, like they pulled his text messages, and he's calling her names. He's like texting in the group chat about looking for her nudes, calling her slurs, all sorts of really gross stuff. He ended up getting fired for misconduct.
So standard operating procedure, I assume.
Yeah, right? This is a person.
I mean,
Send
it
nudes.
seems like a pretty solid defense.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you think this guy was fair and impartial and unbiased and had integrity throughout the course of this investigation, and he's out here calling her a C word, and he's talking about looking for her nudes and calling her...
Show me them titties.
Right. We'll let you off for murder.
Plea bargains.
if you send
Plea bargain. Send me the nudes, and we'll reduce your sentence.
right.
And today was what, the third day of jury deliberation?
Yeah, so they finally, it was like a month of testimony and evidence and trial and all that stuff. And now today was the end of day 3. No verdict yet, but there were some questions that they had today
Oh.
asking about things that like also potentially were the reason for the hung jury the first time around, where they're saying, can we find her not guilty on 2 charges and be undecided on the 3rd? And the judge declined to answer that question for them. Yep.
It's not helpful.
Right?
Seems like relevant information.
Right?
Nah.
The judge was probably at that party with the cops playing Beirut.
Yeah. The judge probably did it.
Yeah.
The judge goes to their parties
We're playing Flip Cup.
with the
That's why they had
evidence.
all the solo cups. Flip cup
That's
of
why
beer
they put
pong.
the evidence in the cup, because the cup was evidence.
Yes. They're all evidence. They're just compounding the evidence by putting other fake evidence into the evidence cups.
Yeah, contaminate the real evidence with fake evidence.
The evidence.
Perfect crime.
Those official police evidence cups.
So, yeah, the judge's argument was basically you shouldn't be worried about the outcome of your verdict. You should just go with whatever's honest, and we'll deal with it from there.
But if they're undecided on that third thing, will that just automatically make it a hung jury again then?
Only on the 3rd thing. So that's
Okay, so they can still convict her of the 2,
yeah,
and the third thing could potentially be retried if they wanted to.
right.
Or would it have to be?
It would have to be if there was another hung jury. if the Commonwealth decides to go for a third round on just that one. Yeah.
I wonder how much money they've spent already.
It's got to have been so much. I mean, first there's the initial cover-up, right? So all the work they're doing to alleged cover-up, right? But to like have all of these avenues not explored and evidence tampered with potentially, this vehicle that they've somehow found with more damage at the end of their investigation than where it started with. And now they're gone through 2 trials, and both trials were pretty lengthy. So like these people have spent a lot of time in the courtroom paying the hourly fees for these lawyers.
Man, plus solo cups are like $5 for a whole thing of them. So
That's true. They probably used at least 6. So
They should make some like commemorative solo cups when this is all done.
yeah.
For all
We
the
can do
people
that.
following the trial,
That's all
have some
at the courthouse.
collectibles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Recoup some of that money. You know you'd buy it. Don't laugh.
I would. Free Karen Reed solo cups.
Scott, like Heidi wouldn't buy that too.
Oh man, maybe. I don't know.
It's the new Stanley Cup. It's the Karen Reed solo cup.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Yeah, that would probably do that. If they marketed that right, they could make millions.
Well, and that's
Yeah, I know Heidi watched the 2020 on it. I guess it says here that they're making a Netflix documentary now.
yeah.
Oh, of course.
So there's going to be a
Got it.
3-part documentary series once it's all done.
Comes it out next weekend? They just
Why would they,
announced it.
Probably.
why would they greenlight that documentary before the conclusion of the trial?
Because everybody's talking about it, apparently.
It's all
We
over
jumped the
Megan's
shark on
emails.
episode 10.
All right, so I think it's pretty obvious where you stand on this.
Yes.
But how do you think it's actually going to come out? Gut feeling.
My gut feeling is, so looking at the 3 charges that they've charged her with, where they're saying charge 1 is, the 2nd-degree murder, charge 2 is the vehicular homicide or manslaughter, and charge 3 was leaving the scene of an accident where somebody deceased. I think that hearing them say that they're potentially looking at 2 not guilties, I think they're going to find her not guilty of the murder, and I think they're going to find her not guilty of leaving the scene of the accident where there was a murder, because I don't think they believe that she murdered him. And I think that they may come back and charge her with like a DUI, which is one of the lesser charges that they can choose from.
Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah, no, there's some pretty compelling evidence that she had been drinking that day.
That's when those nudes were created.
Is where the news were.
All the White Claws in the car.
Yeah. Ain't no laws and you got claws.
Right. Well, they have text messages from them back and forth about them drinking throughout the day, and she went
That should have
on.
been her
and
defense.
Hmm?
That should have been her defense. Ain't no laws and you got claws. Done. Case closed. Free as a bird.
And it's Boston.
The judge is like, I'm down.
I mean, yeah. If that was going to fly anywhere, it'd be Boston.
Yep. But she did kind of bite herself a little bit, because she between trials was doing interviews.
Uh-huh.
So there's interviews of her saying yeah, I had, what I would consider to be 3 to 4 drinks, but they're saying it's 6 to 8 because I got a drink, which was a vodka seltzer, and it wasn't strong enough for me, so I ordered another shot and poured it into the vodka seltzer. So now
I mean, that's my
Calling that
reasoning
2
most
drinks.
times.
Oh,
I only had 3, but they were really big.
just stop talking.
I was going to say, she's a pretty attractive woman. How would she fare in women's prison, do you think?
I think she'd probably fare pretty well. I think she'd have maybe a couple girlfriends.
She's into that sort of thing. Yeah,
She's into that sort of thing. I think that she probably has a pretty big following in prisons. Not that I've been in one recently, but I would imagine if there's a high profile case, they're paying attention. They want to see who's coming there next, and they're thinking, how can this innocent woman end up in prison with us? If the law can do Karen Reed wrong.
So they've never gotten direct evidence that she really hit him and that's what caused his death, and she's obviously never come out and said that there was even an accident there.
Yeah.
Is she just saying she did drive, she was drunk, but she doesn't remember any of that happening, essentially?
Wait, I was going to say, so she just left the party and that was it?
Yeah, so like they had an argument. She drove away without him.
Okay.
Like she left
Obviously.
him. Her story, right? He wasn't in the car. Her story is that like she just drove away. Like maybe she had backed up to go back and talk to him, but then like drove away
Ka-thunk.
and left him there. And her story is she didn't notice anybody get hit by her car. Came back early the next morning to come and like, I don't know.
Where is he?
Where is he? He's not answering my calls.
They call that white girl wasted.
Yeah. Too drunk to remember murdering somebody. But then, like, so the witness stories have also changed from trial to trial. So, like, in the first trial, one of the witnesses who's, like, I don't know if she's, like, the girlfriend of, like, the agent or officer that lives in the house or something like that. But in the first trial, she said, like, oh, she was freaking out. Karen Reed was freaking out when she got back to the house and she found him and she was trying to do CPR and she was saying, oh my God, like what happened? Like, how did he die? Like, is he dead? Could I have hit him? Like, could I have backed into him? Like, questioning things like that. And then somehow now, 3 years later, 4 years later, this woman's mind has become so much clearer and she remembers everything in so much more detail. and
Amazing how that works.
Right? That's how that works all the time, right? I was drunk, and so I just couldn't remember at the time. But what she said actually was, I hit him, and not, could I have hit him?
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. After she had a chance to chat with all of her other little friends who were in the house, who were part of potentially the actual murder. And there's like texts back and forth. They have like another little group chat where
Didn't someone Google like how long does it take for someone to freeze to death or something like that?
That was
because it happened in the winter, right?
Yeah, like how long to, and like you could tell she was drunk too because it was like HOS, how long to die in cold.
And who did this? Who actually did the Google search?
Is the lady? I want to say her name is like Jennifer McCabe.
She's the one that's her memory's suddenly clear now.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
But like she had to try. There's like they could like pull up like right what her records were of her searches, and there's like a bunch of them. Like just clearly, like you're drunk, you're mistyping some things. You can't really spell properly. And it's like
believe me, I don't want anyone to see my searches when I'm sober, so I can't imagine that on the stand.
So okay, so the Google search about how long it take you to die from exposure or whatever.
Yep.
When was that actually done? Was that before or after he was dead?
It depends. So it's like what they're saying is the page on her phone where she searched for this was at like 2:26 in the morning or something like that.
But it was that night.
It was that night. 2 a.m.
Convenient.
Right? When that page would have been opened, he would have potentially been alive.
Right.
All they can say is the last time that the search went in was at like 5:30 in the morning, which potentially could have been when he was already dead, and that's when they found him. So it's like they couldn't like pinpoint exactly what time each search was made.
Gotcha.
But so it's suspicious. It's somewhere between they killed him and she's trying to Google how long do we have to wait until we can cover it up as hypothermia, and we just found a guy dead in our front lawn.
As she's looking out the window, as he's waving to them, guys, I slipped. Hey,
I'm not quite dead.
It's my turn. Pick
what
a
are
song.
the chances? What are the chances that he was just so drunk and was like, "Screw this,
outside.
I'm walking home," and this girl like Googled this to be like, "No, you'll die before you make it home," but he just leaves anyway, and then like slips and falls and hits his head, and they're only covering it up because they don't want to admit that they let him leave.
Right.
Look at Graham, the defense attorney.
Graham's on the fucking case right now.
Like you think that
I'm gonna call him up tomorrow.
you would think. I mean, if they ever put Jen McCabe on trial, contact.
We know about the dead hookers, Kyle.
Wait, do they know his blood alcohol? The dead dude.
Yeah, he was like obliterated. Like I know. Again, it's been a minute since I saw that, but it was something crazy high, like 0.2. So that's like super reasonable, right? So like the prosecution's whole story is that she bumped into him, she backed her car into him, Karen Reed, hit his arm because his arm was outstretched. He was holding a glass of booze. That his arm was outstretched. She backed into
Alcohol
his
abuse.
arm, and because she hit his arm, he twisted and fell and bumped his head on something. They're not sure what, because his body wasn't found next to anything to have been bumped on. And it was also found with bruising on his face that was consistent with a ridged object, fist. But that wasn't important. It was just that...
Irrelevant.
Yeah, she bumped into his hand. And all those other injuries. So we don't know.
How is that constituted as murder?
Right?
I don't know. The dude was probably hammered, mouthing off at the party, and they kicked him out, and he like froze to death in the front yard.
Yeah, like whether he like slipped and fell or like
clearly someone punched him in the face.
Clearly someone.
Something.
Right before he exited.
From outside. And...
Right.
It was probably the judge when they were playing Flip Cup.
That's right. Cheater. It also says he
bailiff
was bitten
will
by a
escort
dog.
you out of the party.
All these suspicious things happen. Like, so the guy who owned the house decided that immediately following his friend being allegedly murdered in his front lawn by a car backing into him at 24 miles per hour, backing into his wrist at 24 miles per hour, that was the best time for him to replace all the flooring in his basement.
Okay, that checks out.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do. Home improvement, it's expensive.
That's
You get a good contractor, you got to work on his schedule, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, it's a reverse Amity situation. One murder happens, you got to change everything.
Right.
Instead of 6 murders happen, and you include the furniture in the house.
Yeah. Keep it in there. The selling point.
They had a dog, and John O'Keefe had what appeared to be like dog bites on his arm. The prosecution alleged that was like from where he got bumped by the car. But like
the car had teeth.
Yeah, multiple doctors were like, that's a bite wound. They got rid of the dog right after this happened as well.
They take him to the farm, or what do you mean got rid of him?
Like we owned him.
Right.
So they couldn't match the bite marks with the dog.
Exactly. Right, and then he sells the house.
And I assume it was an indoor dog. Who was never let out in the front yard where he would have been hit.
Right.
Allegedly.
It's all very suspicious. And it's suspicious that they didn't even consider anything else.
Now I have to buy a piece of that house, the dead cop house, for the collection. And that laminate basement flooring.
There you go.
That guy was drunk here, Graham.
So I'm just imagining the scenario now. So the dead cop, the judge, and the dog were all on the same Flip Cup team. He was the anchor, lost the game for them. The judge and the dog attacked him. He got angry, left, fell, hit his head, froze to death. And they're covering it up.
Beat the snot out of him.
Was the gavel the murder weapon, like Clue style?
The judge and the dog beat him up because he lost to them the game of Flip Cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably what caused the blunt trauma to the face, was the judge's gavel.
Is the gavel ridged? No, he holds the gavel in his hand to make the punch stronger.
The judge?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lady.
Oh, well.
Judge Bev.
She.
Yeah.
Same story. She holds the gavel in her hand, makes the punch stronger, and leaves no evidence on the gavel.
No, I think it was a love triangle between the judge and Karen and her husband. If you can't have him, if I can't have him, nobody can. One of those kind of situations.
That's very believable. Karen Reed did that day, the day that he died, send him a couple messages about is there somebody else? Are you interested in somebody else? Just let me know if there is. It was the judge. The Judge Bev. And she's clearly over this. 2 trials in. She's clearly exasperated. Probably.
So we got away with it for a few meddling kids.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So
we'll have to bring you back for an update once the trial finishes. Hopefully it doesn't finish before the episode goes out.
They've already been
supplemental.
When they give her the electric chair.
I'm going to be fired up if they find her guilty of anything other than the DUI that she pretty clearly was guilty of at some point in time on that night. It's just outrageous. I don't think I can wait another week for. I've been in this for a week and a half, and I'm invested.
I want to go watch the 2020 special now.
You have to.
This sounds pretty fun. Well, not fun, but
It's interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Graham's wife has like talked more than Graham this entire 10 episodes. I'm liking it.
I think you're gonna be replaced.
What are
Graham.
you doing every once a week?
That's fine. I'm a behind the microphone talent.
Yeah, you still need to edit and record everything for us.
Yeah,
We still
we'll need
need
our.
You're not being replaced.
Cam can be our special true crime correspondent here.
Perfect.
We're going to turn it into a true crime podcast so we can actually get some
No,
listeners.
we're not doing that.
Yeah, I don't give a crap about any of that stuff.
You know, if she finds a new trial after this, maybe in a couple months, she can update us on that one.
That sounds good. If
Graham's
Karen
getting
goes
worried.
to
He's getting
prison-
replaced. Look at him.
Oh yeah, he should be.
If Karen Reed goes to prison, I'll come back after I visit her and let you guys know how she's doing.
And if
See how
I
many
go
how many
missing,
girlfriends she has. Graham was found out laying out in his front yard covered in snow.
Yeah.
With one
White
arm
Claws
injury.
cans surrounded him with an arm injury. White Claw cans everywhere.
Solo cups.
Solo cups.
I
All
won't
of
want
it.
them in the house. I
Hmm?
won't
Judge's
let them in
gavel
the
shoved up
house.
his ass.
solo cups.
The police.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if this will actually affect solo cup sales. That'd be awesome. I don't know why I'm kicking on the solo
You
cup.
can
I
hide
just
your
thought that part
evidence.
sounds ridiculous.
If you look up Karen Reed solo cup, does anything come up?
Oh, that's a good idea. Probably just solo cup evidence. Blood evidence collected in red solo cups at the scene was never tested for DNA. Wow. There's got to be. They have pictures of them.
Maybe when she gets released, we like pay her to like put lipstick on and kiss solo cups, and we sell those.
You could make
That's
so
some
much
real
money.
merch.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
You gotta
These,
kiss my ass.
there's like a
Kiss my ass and let me see.
crowd of people outside the courthouse every single day for this woman. Like,
I'll bet.
free Karen Reed signs. They probably have shirts.
I wonder if Pointless Distractions could interview her if we like showed up tomorrow.
If you go and visit her in prison, you can record an interview.
I will interview her for the podcast
Perfect.
and deliver
Oh, that would be sweet.
that footage to you.
Dude, we get like 6 million viewers.
I mean, that would bring in some numbers.
We have to monetize that one. Nice. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for
I learned
having
way
me.
more about this. So now when my wife talks about it, I can understand what she's talking about.
No, see, the thing is,
do.
now you ask her for updates.
Oh,
Yeah,
brownie points.
exactly.
I like that. I need all I can get.
I know more than you do.
No, don't even say
Yeah,
that. Just
Don't think I
tomorrow.
want to do that.
Tomorrow, ask how the trial's going, and you can pretend that you were listening to her about it. And then when this
we go.
episode comes out on Thursday, she'll,
Punch me in the face.
Like,
Run over
like
the
she's
car.
actually going to listen to it.
She'll hit me in the arm with the car. Knock me down so I hit my head on something.
Wait, Cam, have you heard any of our episodes? You can be honest.
I sure have not.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
you're all
Wait, I just realized. I just realized how cute are you two? It's Graham and Cam. Aw.
We are.
That's true.
We are. It's like not denying it.
We know. Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, it's nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I guess thanks for the Pointless Distractions True Crime Report. There, I just coined it.
There you go.
I love it.
That's good.
Yeah, anytime we have another one, we'll have to have you on. You're our official expert now.
So, Graham, how excited are you for Superman?
Oh, I'm so excited.
So, Scott, I got the early Amazon release tickets. They're like 2 or 3 days early.
Nice.
So I think it's a Tuesday. It comes out on a Thursday or Friday.
So that was a limited thing you had to get a raffle for or something?
No, you just have to be a Prime member. You might be able to still go
Oh.
in there and get some.
Oh, okay.
That's the only qualifications. It's
I mean,
like
if-
any local theater.
Yeah, if we wanted to, as soon as we get out of there, we record a pointless review. I'm pretty sure the
Yeah, Scott, if
review.
you want to look real quick.
Spoil everything.
I'm pretty sure the review embargo lifts Monday, so we can get that review out there before anyone else.
Yeah, but I won't get to see it, probably, maybe. I don't know.
Just check real quick. You have Amazon Prime, I assume.
Oh, yeah. Who doesn't?
Just
Oh, I got so much stuff I still need to
Amazon
watch.
Prime Superman tickets.
Oh, you gotta buy them through Fandango via Amazon.com/Superman.
Correct.
July 8th. Wow, 3 days early. I wonder how many tickets they've actually sold for this.
I mean, I was waiting for weeks for that to happen, so I jumped right on there.
Are you
And I
worried
called Graham
that?
immediately.
And I called you back eventually.
He's like, well, I'm with my kids right now. I'm like, fuck that, it's Superman.
Oh, sorry, I was putting my children to bed.
Oh,
I was like in a rocking chair with a crying baby, and Kyle's calling me. Throw the baby
Drop
in the
the
crib.
baby and pick up.
What if it's Superman?
yeah.
It's it's podcast news.
Drop the baby, drop everything. He'll be all right.
The kids are in the tub. I gotta go.
Kyle, are you worried about a certain fan base trying to ruin the movie for us as we're going in?
Whatever could you mean?
No, I'm not worried at all. Like, fuck them.
Why?
What do
I
you
don't
mean,
know.
Graham?
Apparently, a certain subset of DC fans, specifically the fans of Zack Snyder's DC universe, have this grand plan to spoil the release of this Superman movie because they think that if this Superman movie bombs, then WB will bring Zack Snyder back to finish his epic Justice League saga.
I mean, I used to believe in Santa Claus, and that's more realistic than that happening. And I kind of like the Snyderverse shit, but, you know, it's time for a change.
And you have to understand that these people are delusional. I'm convinced that most of them are teenagers, and their parents won't let them watch Andrew Tate videos yet, so they latch on to Zack Snyder Justice League.
Wow.
I'm convinced many of these people never even saw these movies in theaters. They're just like, oh, you know, Reddit tells me I should like it, and, you know, fuck it.
It's very possible.
My question is, if there were so many of these people who are so dedicated to Zack Snyder that they're willing to do all of this to bring his Justice League back, where were all of these people when no one watched Rebel Moon?
I was going to say, where were they during The Flash?
Right?
No, see,
I saw The Flash in theaters.
The Flash doesn't count because James Gunn came in as the head of DC during post-production of that movie, so it counts as a James Gunn
my
movie.
bad.
Yeah. Oh, come on. You can't. They don't claim The Flash.
So their whole plan to destroy the movie somehow and not get people to see it is by review bombing it on websites that nobody reads or gives a shit about in the first place.
Well, I mean, that's nothing new, but we're saying that we're going to post spoilers about it.
So there might be some Snyder fans.
Oh, I can't watch
our
the
early
movie now.
screening.
I can't watch the movie because I know some spoilers. Oh no.
They need to officially support the movie to go see it, to spoil it, to make sure no one else goes to see it.
That's beautiful.
Wait, Crypto dies?
There's like a dog in it and stuff.
I love. Did either of you see James Gunn's reaction to that one Reddit post where they were saying they were going to do all those things?
No,
I think so, but I want to hear it from you.
Oh,
Yeah,
he was basically like, I'm not worried about that. Like, I'm not worried about the 8 people that replied to that post spoiling my movie.
No, fuck them. Scott, did you find tickets or what's going on?
Yeah, I can buy tickets if I want to. I just don't know if I'm going to be available that night. I'm
Like,
sure I
even
will.
if it's
Well, no,
not
I
awesome,
probably
it
won't
looks
be.
fun.
We got to counter the
it is.
Snyderverse spoilers.
I think my favorite criticism that I've seen of this movie is so-called fans of Superman saying that it's very un-Superman of him to have that one shot of him like punching the guy in the face and having his teeth fly out. And they're like, oh well, that's
Yeah,
too.
because that wouldn't happen, or your face wouldn't explode either.
That's too far for Superman to go. And yet all of these
Superman.
people are the same people that support Superman murdering someone at the end of Man of Steel. Like, he can't knock
beautiful.
anyone's teeth out, but he can
No.
murder.
And he's never punched anyone in his life ever. Actually, I think we might be good for July 8th. Nothing scheduled. Okay, cool.
So you heard it here first. Pointless Distractions, Superman review, 3 days early.
We are fancy.
It's when one of us comes out as a secret Snyder fan. It sucks!
I'm gonna go online and write my little review, and you're never gonna see it now because I put a spoiler out there. Yeah.
Superman's not allowed to be happy and make jokes. He has to be depressed.
I mean, I already have the T-shirt I bought in November for the new logo. So ready to go. And with that, keep it pointless.
Keep it pointless.
Keep it pointless.